here we are.
Let's go.
Thanks for coming on, Lamar.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so we've, in the grand scheme of things, recently met through our networking group, and you're one of our newer members. We've got unbelievable momentum, and I'm glad that you're a part of our group now because your energy is great. You had just given your first presentation, what was it, a few weeks ago now?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you moved the entire room. Like, there were people in tears, there were people smiling, laughing. I mean, it's in your journey, from what I learned that day, was really inspiring. And immediately I was like, I got to have you on the show.
Yes.
So I'm glad you're down. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So just to set a little groundwork, to give you a plug too, you're in our networking group because you own the Service Pros here in St. Pete. You are the owner of that. You guys specialize in air conditioning and all sorts of things. So do you do like anything air conditioning, commercial, residential, right?
So yeah, we do commercial and residential. However, I'm staying away from chillers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why
yeah.
that? Why is that? They're too cold?
No, no, they're not too cold. They're not too complicated. It's just that a chiller would have like one condensing unit, and that one condensing unit could run up to like 100 other smaller units in the building.
Oh boy.
And man, I just don't want to be involved with those at the moment. But when I pretty much get the guy that specializes in those, that's when I will start pretty much hunting down some of that type of work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But right now, I'm only pretty much specializing in light commercial, and mainly residential.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, from everybody that's worked with you so far, and I'm probably going to be on the list soon because our air conditioning isn't the newest.
Got you.
But I've only heard amazing things. So, and it doesn't surprise me based on me getting to know you a little more. And I look forward to doing a deeper dive right now. I feel like your story and where you are now will be inspirational for people listening. Have you ever been on a podcast before?
No, this is my first one.
What?
Yeah, it's my first one.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I'm honored. It's neat.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope so too. Yeah. I got mentioned before on the podcast.
Okay. Well, I got
mentioned
something.
before. Yeah, but this is my first time actually speaking and being president.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see how you do.
Let's
but
go.
I have a good feeling. So I know the answer to this, but you weren't always interested in air conditioning. That wasn't hasn't been your trajectory for forever. Where did you start your career? I just kind of want to go back. And
it was interesting because I was just a regular guy working a regular 9 to 5. Just working a regular 9 to 5, happy with it. And a buddy of mine named Mark Hunter, which owns like a lot of property, and he was like, "Dude, you could be so much better than this, man." And I was just like, "Man, I'm just happy to be working," you know.
What was that 9 to 5?
It was just I was working at a plastics engineering firm called Sun Microstamping Technologies.
Okay.
On US 19.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, "Dude, man, you could be doing so much more. You got so much. Your charisma. You're a nice guy." And but I would just had that mindset of just coming home from prison, so like I was just happy to be working, you know.
Sure.
And he was like, "No, don't just be happy. You got to strive for more." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And make a long story short, we got into he pretty much showed me the whole real estate game. Of pretty much how to buy homes, how to flip homes, pretty much stress tests, pretty much to know, is this home even worth buying? Is it a good deal? Is it not a bad deal? You know, things like that. And once he pretty much showed me that, you know, I was very successful in it, you know, making great money. And then we got bills, as in from like our accountant was like, "Man, do you guys think you could, you know, get a little, you know, save some money on, you know, the HVAC aspect of things?" And I was like, I don't know. You know, I feel like the guys who we dealing with now giving us a great price. And make a long story short, I was like, man, I'm going to go to school for this.
Huh.
And then I went to P-Tech. Enrolled in P-Tech, and I did like a 14-month program over there. And then worked at a local company that did strictly commercial HVAC. So I would go to Disney World every single day from about 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's what that time I would have to leave my house. And I would have to be at the shop at 5. So I would leave my house around like 4:30. And then from the shop, it'd take me like 30 minutes because it was in Clearwater. Get there at 5. We literally out of the parking lot going to Disney World at probably like 5:10. Yeah, like 5:10 in the morning, clockwork every day.
Sheesh.
And then, I pretty much learned it all at Disney because Disney World, from my understanding, don't hire their own AC guys.
Huh.
So they would have other companies contract to work like for their freezers, coolers, certain HVAC units and stuff like that. So we would just always go up there and pretty much to their hotels, to their restaurants, anything Disney. You know, whether it was on the property, whether it was off the property. Wet and it wasn't Wet and Wild. Was it Wet and Wild? It was one of those water parks in Orlando because we just all over the place in Orlando.
Sure.
So yeah, we would pretty much just always be in Orlando, just doing AC work for the company, and I learned a lot of it through actually going to Disney every day. Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a great,
Yeah.
I mean, a big company to like test you because they don't kid around.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it was a great opportunity because I came in the game and told them like, hey, I don't know nothing. I'm just in school over here, but if you give me a shot, I know I can get it. And he was like, you know what? I like your attitude. So he gave me a shot.
That's sometimes all it takes.
That's it.
That's how I got from being a lifeguard to a head lifeguard in high school.
Oh, wow.
I just asked like, hey, I want to be a head lifeguard. What does it take? He goes, you're a head lifeguard now. Because I showed the initiative. I was like, oh, this is how the world works.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me though. Like you're clearly driven. You're nice to work with. So like that goes a long, long way. Yeah. So Disney. Also, a lot of people don't really. I feel like a lot of people think of Disney and go, okay, they're like animating, they're making movies, or they got their park. But all of the other facets of the business that make that machine run is insane.
Yes.
All the way down to air conditioning or the food or whatever it is. There's so much involved in a business of that magnitude.
It really is. And I can give you a couple little stories.
Sure.
Of like certain times you can't even do AC work in the daytime because they want you to think it's like this magical place.
Right. They want you to be kind of invisible. They don't want people to see that behind the scenes. They just want you to see the magic.
That's it. So it was sometimes that we would literally have to be there probably around 7 o'clock at night to like 4 o'clock in the morning because they don't even want you. We would have to only work when the park is closed. Mm-hmm. So they don't even want the average person, the consumer, to even see what's going on. Not like it's nothing to hide. It's just that they just want you to always think it's a magic show and nothing's breaking down.
Absolutely. No, it makes it's perception.
Yeah, that's
we work on websites with big maintenance in the middle of the night and usually on weekends.
Got you.
You know, because people aren't hitting it as much. You know? And it makes complete sense. Yeah. So Disney got you going in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you just jumped from real estate, saw this window and you were drawn to it. What was the pull where you're like, were you fascinated with
Yes, I think that's what it was, right? So like as a kid, I always been that one that's just been driven, right? However, once my grandfather died, I think I just like stopped using my hands or like working under the cars with them and getting dirty and from an aspect of like oily and working on lawnmowers and pulling parts at the junkyard and I stopped doing all of that stuff as a kid once my grandfather died. So all of that creative stuff kind of like went out the window and I had to pretty much play like fight or flight to where like, man, I had to make money. So like my whole like childhood kind of changed to actually like be in like survival mode instead of kind of like learn and get experience. So I had to go kind of like go a different route in life just to kind of like survive.
Was it survivor mode because your grandfather was supporting you and now you needed to support the family?
No, it wasn't like, I'm gonna just say pretty much like a support myself.
Uh-huh.
You know, I had an aunt, but she, you know, she was struggling too.
Uh-huh.
You know, my mom kind of was like never around that much, or my dad was kind of like never around that much. So my aunt, pretty much once my grandmother and my grandfather died, they both died literally like a year apart. So my aunt had to kind of like leave everything behind in New York, which she was living a beautiful life. She pretty much had to give it all up just to come and take care of me and my brother.
Wow.
And, you know, she wasn't rich, you know, she was, you know, making ends meet. But, you know, she was struggling with us. So it was like, man, I got to do, you know, some little things, odd and ends, you know, to make money, you know, whether I was gambling or.
I was going to ask, what were those odds and ends?
Yeah, so it was gambling, you know, selling weed or.
What age? What age are we talking?
Man, like 12, 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gambling and dealing.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Like, those are also quite accessible in the scheme of things. Like, you know, that people are gambling all over the place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of drug use in the world.
100%.
Yeah. And that was accessible or?
Yeah, in the south side of St. Pete, I would say.
Okay. So St. Pete your whole life?
Yeah, for the most part. I've been here since I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, like 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from there, you were making ends meet. What's the next stage? How long were you doing that before, you know, were you?
Man, I would say
next step.
I would say probably from like 13 to probably like, I don't know, I guess the ship came crashing down in like 18, 19. Yeah, like 18, 19. And, you know, that's when you know, the law enforcement, you know, kind of got, kind of got on me.
Candle burnt.
Yeah, they kind of burnt it out. Yeah, so.
I mean, sustaining a life like that, you know, is, you know, you're constantly doing something that's against the law. It's 100%. A tough one to consistently do right.
Yeah,
because you make one mistake and
it's over.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that's why it's funny you say that because my conscience kind of got like reversed, as in from a standpoint of now that I'm doing right, it still kind of gets me to where I'm doing wrong still.
Right this day, now in this moment.
Sometimes.
Because he's playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
Like you feel like there's something I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, like I can't. So in the situation that I'm in right now, I'm going to be honest with you, I still talk to my buddy to this day. Sometimes I still can't believe I'm doing this good.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest with you.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I think I'm the luckiest person in the world, you know, coming from where I came from, you know.
Yeah.
Rough childhood, no mom, no dad. Like I said, both of my grandfathers died. My grandfather and my grandmother died on me. My brother got murdered, you know.
Jeez.
So it's like, I don't know, coming from where I came from when I met my buddy, that's why I said I was so motivated, was so eager. But when I went to prison, that kind of killed like my confidence a little bit. So just rewinding it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, so
I mean,
like,
that's not a great place to be.
Got you. So when I came home, I was like, man, I'm just happy I'm working.
Oh, sure.
You know, because you hear about the stories. Oh, you'll be right back. Oh, just put your name right there. You'll be back in 7, 8 months or 4 or 5 months. Yeah, you'll be back. You'll be doing life. So you hear crazy stories. Not only that, you witness crazy stories of
a recidivism.
Yeah, no, like you see an individual just left, and then they go out literally within a week being home to do something crazy.
Oh my!
Get re-sentenced again, and you will see them right back in prison again.
Yeah.
So like you see crazy stuff like that, let alone hear things like that. Mm. So when my buddy was like, "Nah, man, you got the charisma. You a cool guy. You need to be on top." I was like, "Nah, I'm just happy to be working." And he was like, "No." So it was kind of like a Mr. Miyagi, you know, Karate Kid type deal, to where he was like, "Listen, I'm gonna let you be around me for a couple years, show you everything I do."
Wow.
And you should have all the tools. I'm not going to say should. I'm going to say you will have all the tools to go do what you need to do. And
it's huge.
Yeah, I speak to him every single day, man. He showed me the game, and now it's like, yeah, I'm having fun with it now.
That's life-changing when someone takes you under their wing like that. You know, there are people in my life who, you know, a mentor or something where it's like, why does this person care so much about me to want to see me succeed? They're giving me all they got as far as their knowledge or whatever it is, and supporting me in different ways. They're not my family, you know, but they're treating me as such. Yeah. And, you know, there's people who've been on this podcast who are those people.
Wow.
But it's great to hear that you were able to connect with someone so important like that, because like you said, I think that the recidivism rate is ridiculous as far as people leave prison after being incarcerated and they're right back there, because what do you put on your resume depending on how long you've been in there, and your resources when you get out, if you had a girlfriend or family and maybe they've abandoned you because they're mad, or there's so much complication that can spin up that when you leave there, you're in the world now, you have to make ends meet.
Yes.
A lot of people fall back, I would imagine, to, well, I know this game and I don't know what else to do. I got to eat, or I need a roof. I just can't imagine. So 18 or 19, you said the ship came crashing down. What was the ship? Were you actually on the water and you crashed? And
No. So it was actually pretty much they ran down on me and it was like, hey, listen, it's over. And I was like, oh man, it can't be over right now. It's just getting started. It was like, it's just getting started.
Were you wanting to build an empire?
Yeah, I would say. I'm just being honest with you.
Sure, I'm sure that was. It's a tug.
You know, I as a kid growing up, that's why I'm a real big believer in God. You know, like I really believe in God, and I really trust God because of like my past and where I'm at. So, for example, Pablo Escobar was like he was just like someone that anybody, you know, that sell drugs look up to. Because of, you know, his statue, not as in, you know, the aspect of like his murders and, you know, killing people and you know, torturing people. It's just the aspect of like the money
what he built.
Yeah, he built the empire, you know. Now, I just left Medellin maybe about 2 months ago. Matter of fact, right before I joined MPI, I think I told him, I was like, hey, I can't join right now only because I got to go out of town. And when I get back, you know, I'll do it, because I was going to miss a couple meetings. I think I told Crystal that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Crystal or Michelle. I told one of them that. I was like, no, I think it was Dan. I think it was Dan. I was like, hey, I'm not going to join now. I'll join when I come back.
Come back from, what is it called?
Medellin.
What is that?
Colombia. So where Pablo is from.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a close friend named Kevin that lived there. He actually here in the States now. He actually just got accepted to the University of Florida architect program.
Nice.
But I went over there to chill with him. And chat with him, because he's been like my virtual assistant, helping me with like, you know, properties and stuff like that, like you know, doing all the maintenance. You know, he do everything, man. He's just like a great virtual assistant that can learn anything.
Cool.
But I've been, you know, knowing him for the last like 3-4 years, and I was like, man, you know, I want to go meet him. You know, so me and my buddy went over there and actually met him and his family.
Great.
And it was amazing. And when I got over there, I asked him about Pablo. And he was just like, yeah, we hate him here. And I was like, oh, wow. Why? He did so much for the country. He said, no, he's a bad man. Everybody hates him here.
Sure.
You know, you have some people love him, some people hate him. So when he went to going into examples of like some of the horror things he did, like burning up buildings and blowing up buildings and, you know, killing cops. And I was like, ooh. We didn't hear that in America. We just saw like, you know, all the drugs he brought and everything to the, you know, to the States and stuff like that. We just heard about the Miami lifestyle back in the 80s and 90s, how everybody was having fun, you know, partying and stuff like that. And
built up Miami in a way. I mean, the cocaine.
Yes, them the stories you hear. Like cocaine cowboys and stuff like that. That's all because of Pablo. And when I got there, I was like, man, you know, I actually prayed, and I was like, man, God, please forgive me, you know, if I added any salt, like any flame to this fire. I mean, you know, please forgive me. And once he told me that, he was like, hey, did you want to go to any of his like his statues or his shrines and stuff like that? I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to go to his house. You know, they have like tours, spots to where you can go where Pablo lived, you know, where he went to church at, school, stuff like that. And I was like, no, I don't want to go to none of that stuff. I'm good. He was like, you sure, buddy?
You kind of, that was a way to like shake it off.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, yeah,
you
I'm
saw
good.
them in a different light.
Yeah. Because, man, it's a lot of families that got tortured in that situation.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm good, man. So I didn't go. In fact, this is the first time I think I've ever spoke about it. Yes, since then, I totally erased them out of my history.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, okay, you could build something, but how you build it in that realm it is messy.
Yeah, it's
and
always
you ruin
messy. You can't never
lives.
win. I'm just being honest with you. You could never win in that situation.
Nah.
And that's why being in that situation, that's why I never did one drug in my life. I never even drank a beer.
When you were dealing?
No, I never did it in my life.
Wow.
I never drank a beer, never drank liquor, never smoked weed. I never did no drug in my life. Only because I saw what it did to individuals around me. But I was just so ignorant in my youth days to where I thought money was so important that I didn't really see the destruction until I actually went to prison. You know, so I didn't see, you know, people that was, you know, had habits or, you know, even though my mom was on drugs, even though my dad was on drugs, like I said, I was ignorant and I didn't see.
There's a lot of people on drugs out there.
Yeah, it's
I
a
mean,
lot.
it's wild.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, I would imagine being in prison, you hear and see so many different examples of what not to do, or like what mess people got into from, you know, drugs or whatever it is, making and likely one bad decision or one bad decision led to another, and there's kind of this slippery slope of how did I fall into this this wave of actions which led me here. I just can't imagine. How long were you in?
So I did about 2 years. Yeah. So I got a 6-year sentence.
Okay.
However, due to the fact I was a youth, it was called the Youth for Offender Act. I still went to prison, but they gave me 2 years in, 4 years out. So I was on parole for 4 years. And parole is different than probation.
Okay.
Probation is like, you know, if you can go, they may give you another chance. Parole is where you go to prison already. And then if you come home, the rest of your time, you can come home and do the rest of your time. But if you get in trouble, you just go straight back to prison.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, buts. There's no taps on the wrist. And, you know, give me a second chance. No, you just go straight to prison. So.
And then you have to serve the rest.
The rest of your time.
You probably aren't granted an option of parole after that.
No, you got to just do all your time. So I would have had to do the rest of my 4 years. So when
you were probably really straight.
Oh, man, like no joke, like straight wasn't a word. Like, man, it got to the point where like I didn't want to be around no law officer, no law enforcement. Just because I didn't even want them to kind of like ask me my name to even run my name.
Sure.
I stopped hanging around all my friends, but those habits became great habits because I just stopped hanging around people, period. Right. So like all my friends, I think that kind of like wasn't clean. Like I was like, man, I'm not going to risk it. I just literally just stayed away from them, all of them.
Yeah.
You know, when I see them like, hey man, how's everything going? Hey man, have a blessed day. I'll see you later. So like once I got into church and, you know, just kind of like just staying focused, you know, being around my wife, my kids, I just really didn't have time for anybody anyway. So it kind of worked out.
Absolutely. I mean, you are a combination of the environment and the people that you surround yourself with.
Yes, 100%.
Day to day.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're around negativity or darkness or bad habits, you're leaking, or they're leaking, that all of that is leaking into your life, whether you want it or not. You're putting yourself in there.
Yes.
And your disconnection of that, as hard as it probably was, although it's probably maybe an easy Band-Aid because you go, I don't want to go back there, and disconnecting from them, it was the thing that you needed to do in order to kind of refresh. Yeah. Stay on the straight and narrow, if you will.
So, man, it was hard in many aspects because like funds were low, right? So I didn't have money when I came home. I didn't really have nothing, right?
What do you do?
And I got a paper route. So
okay.
I love my Aunt Brenda, you know, the one who raised me. I love her to this day, man, because she was just like, listen, I don't care if you get a paper route job, just delivering flyers, whatever. Like, I'm just not going to let you go back into the streets. And I was like, man, wow, Okay. Yeah, okay. So I met this guy named Mr. Phil. He lived down the street from her. And he was like, hey, I got a friend of mine. He owned a flyer business to where like he would go to like Papa John's, Hungry Howie's, man, anything that have like a flyer that need to just pretty much door hanged on people's door. So he would pretty much get like 1,000 flyers a day. And I would literally just go help him go door to door and just pass them out.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was another reason why I kind of like trust God, because he'll let you preview certain things. Remember when I thought Pablo was like an idol to me? And then I got there and I'm like, nah, this guy not an idol. Remember when I came home from prison, I had the door hang. That's what I had to do. And it was a blessing because now I love the door hang for my own business.
How cool.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So I did it kind of like, man, you know, for somebody else. And I think I was only making like $100 a week. And I was like, I was so grateful for that $100.
Sure thing.
I was so happy for that $100. And so I think I was making like $400 a month, but I was super duper happy for it. Right.
Yeah.
So now being that I can go door to door myself for my own business, it's a blessing. So
is it nostalgic?
Oh man.
You think about that time?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. Sometimes it kind of hurt. You know, sometimes it do kind of hurt because in a good way, right? Because I'm like, man, you was deep down. Like you was knee deep. You know what I mean? Knee deep. Like it was bad, right? Like you was doing bad, right?
Yeah. I mean, prison is one of the not greatest places you could be 100%. In life. You know, that's just the reality of it. Also, there's a reason for that. That's the incentive to not go back or get in there, because it's not, you know, that's not. And there are arguments to make. Like there are other countries that people are treated in a much better way. They have an apartment and a TV, and they treat incarceration in a much different way, which I think there's merit to it. I think I mean, you can't get away with it in certain areas, and it's just a different part of the world. But you know, the for-profit thing is probably the wrong way to go. Yeah, there are certainly adjustments to be made, but overall, it's part of the system, just like our justice system. Like you don't do that because it harms other people. As long as you're not doing that, you're not going to go to this place. But if you go over that line, it's not fair to other people who are living a good life and want to be free and safe.
No, you're right.
And you're compromising people's liberty and happiness in the pursuit of all of that.
Got you.
It's just so interesting to think of the complexities that go into it, you know. And it's also interesting because we're such a young country in the grand scheme of the world. Yeah. You know, other countries, they think you have drugs and they kill you.
Yeah, they just kill you.
Or you're locked up and there's just like no questions. That's also scary.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why also they don't have as much use of that over there. I mean, but that's like maybe a part two is what do we do about the, you know, what actually being in there, I'm curious, and going through that process, were there things that stuck out to you where you go, this was well done and this absolutely worked, and on the other side, things that you experienced where you were like, this is awful and we need to change this immediately because this should not be happening in when someone's incarcerated? Does anything stand out to you?
The whole system stands out. The whole system. So it's like it's not meant to be a nice place.
Yeah.
So like if it was a nice place, then everybody would go there. So it's not supposed to be a nice place. So I'm happy it was all what they said it was, you know?
Okay.
And it's not a great place. You don't want to be there. You only get a couple hours to go on the rec yard. Just got to pretty much just sit down and read all day.
In your cell?
Yeah, you're right. So it's
just
like,
in a box smaller than this room.
Just a box. Yeah, way smaller than this room. Yeah,
it's cold too.
Yeah, crazy cold, to the point to where they use the coldness as a method to where, like, if you cold, they feel. I think they did a study on this, if I'm not mistaken, to where if it's something so cold, people don't have time to argue and fight.
Wow, because they're trying to stay warm.
Yeah, everybody's just trying to stay warm, or everybody trying to be in their own little,
interesting
circle or whatever you want to call it, their own little area. But they keep it cold for a reason. Think about
now
it.
You keep it cold for a reason.
Yeah.
You help keep places cold.
Yeah, right? yeah. I need to get every contract at every prison to keep all. Yeah.
Because they need it real good.
Yeah, when they need any heat or any outage, they need to give me a call. I could come and keep them cold. But no, that place was a blessing also, man, because it just got me to the point to where, like, when I came home, I wasn't in the best situation, but I just knew even the best situation was better than that situation.
Hi there. This is Josh Naaman, CEO and founder of Naaman Creative. And we're the ones who produce the podcast that you're listening to right now. But on top of podcast production, we take care of all sorts of things related to websites, from design, development, maintenance, management, and hosting. And today, I want to talk to you about a website being like a house. Think of your website like a house. If you take care of it, there's a good chance it'll increase in value over time. And if you don't, it'll decay into opportunity for everyone besides you. So, how do we keep a house in order? Well, we make sure to maintain it from the builder. All things atrophy. We've got a version control and stay organized, keep good records. We have to develop processes and stay consistent to keep things running well. And we need to build in new updates. We need to respond to new needs and context of the use. And how do you let your website slip into decay? You leave it alone, and it'll be overtaken by nature. You let problems compound. You won't know where to start, and you hire amateurs to fix it, so you can have to fix it again later. Avoid all of this. Make sure that you make your website an asset like a house. Contact us today at NaamanCreative.com, and we'll make sure to take care of you just like our own homes.
Did you hear a lot of people with that same mindset? That because obviously you got to know people being in there for 2 years, and I'm sure there's an enormous range, but were a lot of people like, I guess I'm grateful to be here because I'm going to turn my life around, or what were the attitudes?
No, so I didn't even have that attitude
In there.
No, well, when I got in there, first thing I did was grab a Bible, and I made sure I read the Bible from like front to back.
Wow.
And when you in there, that's like kind of like the worst place to get a Bible, because they'll call you a Bible thumper, because they'll say, "Oh man, you just doing that right now because you got all this time on your hands."
Okay, so
right. So they'll say, as soon as you get free again, you're not going to worry about God.
Okay.
They'll say, "Oh, you just doing this just to just to help your time fly." I was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna really just trust God, man." And
were you religious before that, or did that kind of set you on the path?
I'm not gonna say I wasn't religious, because my grandmother always taught us to believe in God, but it wasn't like to where my household they forced us to go to church.
Right.
Nah, ain't nobody really forced us to go to church. So when I came home, I had done read the Bible so much, and it worked out for me, because another situation where God, blessed me. One of my roommates, good dude, very good dude. He kind of like somewhat like ran the prison, and I didn't know that though. I had no clue. But
he was a friend before
you
got in, or
he
you
my
made?
Friend. Yeah, he my friend now.
You made him.
Yeah,
you made friends when you were in there.
Yeah.
How did you make friends with someone running the prison?
No, so it was crazy because he was like the head of a group. I'm gonna say a head of a group in there. Every day they got groups, and he like ran this one particular group, and even though he ran a particular group, he still prayed a lot and read the Bible, like he did it on the regular. And I had no idea he was the head of a particular group in there. I wasn't in no gang, no groups, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed away from all of it, because I knew I wanted to go home. And then I didn't know none of these guys when I were on the out, so I wasn't going to come in here and be best friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
But make a long story short, he's still like one of my closest friends to this day.
So
yeah. His name David, by the way. Cool dude. In fact, he when he got work release, when I saw him, he was working at the Oyster Bar downtown St. Pete. So he really became my friend. Like he actually came local and lived here for like 7-8 years. before he became a fighter in Connecticut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Wow.
me and him used to read the Bible a lot. And dangerous guy, like he would hurt you though.
Cool.
But like he really believed in God, you know. And
So you were able to connect with him
Yeah,
even though
man.
not being in a group?
no, I wasn't in no gang, no group, no nothing. But he was.
Uh-huh.
And
That's a good connection
no,
to
he
have,
was
I
like
guess.
he was like the head though. Like he was like the head. So
Wow.
like God will give you favors sometimes in situations to where you don't even got to go do nothing crazy, and he'll make sure he take care of you. So make a long story short, me and him used to always read the Bible. Like literally it was like clockwork, like 7, 8 o'clock every day at night. We all just, me and him and like one other guy named Cassius from Tampa.
Mhm.
We just read the Bible.
Mhm.
And man, we just got so cool with reading the Bible. I just literally just stuck to it. And
Mhm.
I just seen how like God blessed me to get through certain situations in there. I knew he was going to do it when I came home. So that's why I just kind of like just stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big book too. So there's a lot of material that,
Yeah.
you know, you got the time.
Yeah.
So what do you use it on? A big historical document like that. It's,
Yeah.
you know, all sorts of stuff in there
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can take away.
No, you got to be careful though, man, because people use that book for many reasons.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to get in detail for what other reasons they use it for, but
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
that's a very powerful book.
Oh, yeah.
You know, very
Cherry
powerful.
pick it in all sorts of ways. It was used
Yeah.
to persecute people
Yeah.
and to free people.
Yeah. Point blank. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was raised
It is-
Catholic.
So, yeah. So, yeah, man, it
So,
worked out for
man.
me.
I got so many questions. Did you find it? You were talking about gangs and groups. Did you find that was an easier path to not associate yourself with anybody and stay kind of agnostic and neutral to
Yeah.
any group, or was it more difficult because you didn't have like protection, like you know, or whatever it is? What did you? How was the complexity of that navigating, like I guess your safety? You know,
No,
or-
so like I just always stay neutral, right?
Uh-huh.
So like that's one of those situations. Like if you want to join one of those situations, you know, sometimes they'll come pressure you into joining.
were you ever pressured?
No, I was never pressured.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm from St. Pete. It's crazy, but they have like a foothold on any compound they go to in Florida. Like
Those groups.
yes, like no, just if you're from St. Pete, they just look at you as like, oh yeah, you crazy.
Oh, really?
yeah. And I'm far from that. Like I was never no dangerous guy. Like I didn't carry guns. I never robbed nobody. I never took from nobody.
Yeah.
So like
You don't
but
come off as dangerous. to
Yeah,
me.
right. So like coming from St. Pete, they have like this stigma on them that man, like if you mess with one of those guys, like you will get hurt.
I guess that worked to your advantage then.
Yeah, right.
This stereotype
Yeah.
kind of protected you.
Yeah, so it was like one of those things to where, and then not only that, it wasn't like it was a gang or a group or a clique, but people from St. Pete won't let nobody harm you also.
Uh-huh.
So it's
They
like,
look after each other.
Yeah, it was like more of that type of deal.
Okay.
So I had a lot of friends just so happened, you know, that I knew on the streets. They all happened to be in trouble with me, and we all happened to be in the same place too. So
Oh, boy.
I was down there. Well, I was in a couple facilities with people I knew also. So that was another reason why I kind of didn't really have to join no gangs or do nothing. But
Sure.
if you just mind your business and, you know, stay in your own little realm, you know, that trouble won't even, you know, it won't find you.
Yeah. Because you're around so many different people
Yeah,
from
hundreds.
so many situations.
Yeah.
Again, who you surround yourself
Yeah.
with, even in there,
Yeah.
starts to leak on you, and you get caught up
Yeah.
in a gang or a group, and that's going to follow you, or you're going to start to become
Yeah.
that because you're around it. So
Gotcha.
I mean, it sounds like your choice is the one to make in there. Where
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay focused,
That's
stay in
all I
my
did.
lane. I'm going to read. I'm going to better myself. You know, did you work out a lot?
Yeah, I did work out a lot
Yeah.
because that's one of the only things you really can do in there.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, they have everything you have on the out. So they do have track fields, football fields, soccer fields, basketball courts. They have all of that in there. So one tool that you can pretty much sharpen is your body.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's push-ups, pull-ups, you know, run around a track.
You can do that even in your cell. You know, no weight.
Yeah,
you can do a
that,
lot.
yeah. So you can easily do 300, 400,
Stretching.
500, you know, push-ups a day, you know, sit-ups, you know, chin ups. You can do all of that stuff in your cell.
Yeah.
But I just always did it out the field. When I came back to my cell, I just always kept it. I read or, write home,
Okay.
write a letter. And just, sometimes I just used to write to God, like, man, if you, I think I just said it at the MPI group when I had my speech. I think I said something like, when we all be in that one situation, like, God, if you get me out of this one.
Oh, yeah. You had mentioned, like, I promise.
Yeah, I won't do it again if you just get me out of this situation. So
you held your end of the bargain there, it sounds like.
So I just kind of, just used to always say, man, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to just get a regular job and, make sure, I raise my kids right and, make sure I be around my kids more and, stuff like that. So I used to kind of like write it out, like the little things I truly believed in my heart.
Yeah.
So like going back to my buddy, he was like, man, you can easily go, buy this house, go do this or make money this way, make money that way. But I was just telling him like, man, I'm just happy to even be, doing what I wrote down, like working the job or spending more time with my kids or, stuff like that. So, and it worked out.
I mean, I went hard before I had my daughter and, just in the past. And it's nothing absolutely crazy, but, thinking about like the pace that I was going with different things, to say the least, now having and I'm very busy with business and the things that I'm involved in, but like a simple, like I do my business. I love going home to my family, hanging out with my friends, playing music, and just like sticking to that. I'm like super sober now,
nice.
Which has like been game changing for me. And it's like, I like that it's not complex. You're not chasing this dragon or these experiences that, you think are going to be, and some of the greatest experiences are the simplest ones where, my daughter says something funny when we're reading together or something subtle and we're all together in the, the Florida room or whatever it is, or at dinner. It's those little things. You
you're
don't
right.
have to be high and doing all this stuff and going hard to enjoy life to its fullest, but people are just like redlining it.
Yeah. So, man, you're so right about that. So now I see that, right? So for like, I'm going to say like the past like 7-8 years of my life have been like hustle, bustle, grind so hard. Wake up working, go to sleep working, working when you working. Be at the gym working out, texting your phone, you're on this real estate deal or doing this or doing that. So it's just always work, right?
Yeah.
So now where I feel like I am in a great spot right now, it's like I can actually kind of like sit back and say, wow, like, man, the last like 10 years of my life have been like amazing. I've been kind of like great for the last 10 years of my life.
Yeah, clearly.
Mentally, spiritually, and financially. However, I feel like if I was still like in a hustle and bustle, I feel like I would still be worrying about money, still trying to pay this bill. I wouldn't really see the beautiful things in life. But now I just love spending time with my, my kids or.
Other than that, what are you hustling and bustling for?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
If you're not, then you don't have time to enjoy the time with your children.
Yeah.
And then what's it for?
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, right? So like even with like the one-on-ones and like going to like meet and greets with like the MPI people and like sun runners and social and strategize.
Sun leaders.
Yes, sun leaders. I'm sorry.
Sun runners.
Yes, sun runners. Yeah, sun leaders. I'm still trying to get into all of that stuff, right? I really, it's not that I'm not a fan of none of that stuff, but this all new to me. Like the chamber, MPI. So I'm kind of like just trying to get in and like, so for example, the chamber was kind of slow for me, right?
Yeah, it's a different.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Yeah, it's kind of slow. It's nice, but it's like, people, it's kind of slow, chill. But like MPI so militant, right? No, I'm serious. No joke. Like
they don't get around.
Maybe I'm like the only person I think is militant. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, right?
Have you been to BNI?
No, I've never been to BNI.
That's militant.
Oh, okay.
NPI is like BNI light, but I see what you mean. It's there's a rigidity to it, and we're focused.
Like I'm scared to miss a Wednesday, right? I'm like no joke. Like I won't commit to like a social and strategize, or I won't commit to when they say, hey man, the fella's gonna go out and go hang out. I won't commit to none of that, right? However, I'll be like, yeah, I might can make it, but please don't hold me accountable. But NPI is like
Wednesdays.
Yeah, I'm gonna
locked
be there.
in.
Yeah, it's like Marine type stuff. I'm gonna be there. It's just that simple, right?
Oh yeah.
However, I would like to start doing everything like that. Whether it's a social and strategize, whether it's a Sun Leaders, whatever it is, I want to start doing everything like that. But right now, I'm kind of like just taking it baby steps with all of it.
Definitely. Well, also just to let you know, everybody who like starts, you know, it's a different realm, and you got, you know, I mean, everybody's like, what is this at first? And it's still like figuring out like, whoa, this is different, you know. So you're definitely not alone on that. And we're all imposters in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you only know so much, but no one knows fully what they're doing. But it's awesome to be around people like yourself. Like, I mean, imagine the group there on Wednesday mornings. You know, I get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten to know you. And how special is that?
Yeah,
There's something
right.
so magical and very powerful about a group like that that goes a long way. Otherwise, we wouldn't be connected. And who
100%.
knows what this will lead to and that'll lead to. Like for me, it's changed my trajectory as far as business and stuff like that.
Man.
One decision.
No joke, man. Right? I was kind of like on the edge, right? Dan was like, hey, come to this group. Hey, come. You know, Dan, he just a social butterfly, man. And I was like, man, you know what? He was like, come to this group. I was like, all right, I'll come to it. I was at a chamber event, came to it, and then we came to NPI, and I was like, whoa, I like this. But what NPI have done for my brand and my business is like hands down amazing.
Yeah,
Hands
it
down.
works.
It works.
And it's glad to hear it. It was cool, you know, your first couple of meetings, you still are a little quiet.
Yeah.
But you're breaking in.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when we're going around at the end and saying, like, close business and thank yous, you were at the beginning like, I just got to say, I love the energy here. I'm so impressed by it. I like fed off of that because I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I feel that every week, but it's not always verbalized, or now it's becoming normal, which is cool in its own way because that's the level that I'm playing at now is this energy, you know, coming there in the mornings on Wednesday. You, again, who you surround yourself with. You surround yourself with 31 people who are going at it hard and care and are driven like that.
Yes.
Of course they're going to lift you up.
Yes, 100%.
It's great energy.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, you just can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
I feed off of your energy.
Man, I wish I could have did NPI like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I'm not joking with you.
Hindsight.
I wish I would have been involved with NPI like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's totally a game changer.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, when did you start the Service Pros?
So we started the Service Pros about, I'm going to say 2 years ago.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's a unique story about, so everybody says, is that a franchise? No, that's mine.
Is it going to be a franchise? Do you want to franchise it?
No, not right now. I'm just trying to fine tune it right now.
Sure.
That might be the future. I would love to get royalties off of everything sold. But right now I'm just trying to fine tune it to get it where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's not a franchise. That's 100% mine, by me and my partner. But yeah, nobody owns that. We own that 100%.
Great.
Yeah.
It's super special. You know, like it's so empowering owning your own business. You went, you know, from a paper route, getting out of there to owning your own business.
Yeah.
That's a huge testament to who you are.
Yes.
I mean, and it's, you know, there's a reason why not a lot of people own their own business. It's not easy work, you know, but for me, it's so rewarding. And you know, like for me, the journey of it all is also so cool. You know, yesterday I was at a place that makes chairs here locally. And I'm not going to say specifically, but I met with the owner for 3 hours. Someone who's very busy person, super successful, showed me around, talked to me in high detail. It's like, what other position would I be in where I'm talking to someone at this caliber for this long and they're so invested in me?
Wow.
You know, it's just like no other position unless I had my business and you took me seriously in this way.
That's it.
So there's just something.
Yeah, you can't do that when you want somebody else's time.
Right. Yeah. You're in a different mindset too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't change anything about it. Okay. So I'd be remiss to ask a couple questions because I've gotta. And then we're going to get to a rapid fire, and then we'll wrap it up because we're at Friday. We're almost going on 6 p.m.
Yeah, wow.
I really appreciate
Likewise.
you being here. Okay, so real quick, going back to being in prison, I want to know what's the craziest experience that you had in there? Where like, what is happening?
Anything
stick out?
I think like maybe like the fourth day. The fourth day when I got there, it was Lake Butler, and cigarettes is big there, right?
And it's like a currency.
Yeah, it's like a currency, right? So it's like if you got cigarettes, it's like you the king. And it was this little white kid. He probably was like 80, 90 pounds. Literally like 80, 90 pounds soaking wet, so small. And he had cigarettes. And he was in intake with me. And intake is like when you first come to the prison.
Okay.
They told him like, hey, dude, just give those away. They told him that, just give those cigarettes away.
He had cigarettes on him that he wanted to bring in.
Yeah. No, so they give you rips. You can bring those.
Really?
However, it's not Newports. Not no more. They took them off now. You can't even buy cigarettes in prison no more. However, before I left, I think 2 years after I got out, that's when they stopped it. However, when I was still there, you could still buy them from prison. They'll sell you the rips. And he had them. So even though everybody can go buy them, they just looked at him as like he's no threat. And it was crazy because I felt so bad for him. They beat him to death.
To death?
Yeah, so
for cigarettes.
Yeah, for cigarettes. Yeah,
what
yeah.
The
so
hell?
They beat him up so bad. And they told him, it was like, hey man, just get a cigarettes up, man. You too small. They're gonna take them from you. They're gonna beat you for those. And he had like a lot of rips, like a lot of them. And they pretty much, he kept them. When they come in, you know, they check your stuff, not like the inmates. I mean the guard, it's the inmates. And they ain't check my stuff. I was like, nah, like we ain't gonna do all that. You know, just let me just go to my cell. But other people who they feel like they can get over on, they gonna check your stuff. You know, and go
they
through
being other
the
people
inmates.
in the inmates.
Yeah, the inmates. They gonna take whatever they want and go from there.
Especially when you're new.
Yeah, when you're new, of course, because you don't know nobody, you know. But like I said, when I got there, it was a couple people saw me and it was like, oh, Werts. You know, they call me by my last name. It was like, oh, Werts. What I was like, oh, man. It was like, oh, you good, man. Get out of that line, man. That's for all the newbies. You ain't got to go through all that. So when I seen the kid, he was like, nah, don't take him. He was like, nah, don't take my stuff. And they beat him bad, so I just thought, you know, they just beat him up. However, in prison, you just got to kind of like, you know, just if it ain't your business, you got to kind of like stay out of it.
Yeah.
People die there on a regular for getting other people's business.
Right.
And they beat him bad. And maybe like 7 months down the road, 8 months down the road, I was at Lake City. That's when I got moved to a different prison. I was at Lake City, CI. And another guy that was there with me, he was like, hey, man, you remember that? You was there that night when the white kid got beat up? I was like, yeah. He was like, man, he went to outside medical. And I was like, what happened? He was like, that same two nights later, he went to outside medical. Outside medical is that like the prison medical system can't do nothing for you. You got to go to like ICU, like intensive care. And he was like, man, he died. I was like, huh? And that kind of like stuck with me, you know, like still to this day, I think about that because like, it was over a pack of cigarettes, you know, and like that kind of messed with me, you know, and that could have been me, you know, it could have been anybody, you know, and that kind of like get to me. So that situation kind of get to me. I still think about it every now and then because it's not the situation, you know, what I could have done, you know, but it was like one of those situations. I was kind of like already in my cell. So it was like, even if I kind of like wanted to help him, there was probably nothing I still could have done. But if he would have had to listen to just give him away, that probably would have never happened. But he was just like, nah, man, ain't nobody going to touch me. He was kind of like that big, brave situation to where, you know, people think they bigger than the system. I was like, man, I didn't say nothing to him. I wasn't one of the ones that was telling him to give it away. Mm-hmm. But the guards told him, other inmates told him. They was like, hey, man, dude, you too small, man. They're going to take that as soon as you get to the dorm room. And, man, they said he died. Yeah, I was like, whoa.
That's awful.
Yeah. I probably think about that, man, at least 2-3 times a week, if not like every day I wake up.
My goodness.
I'm not joking with you. Yeah, that was serious. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of lessons to that. I mean, for one, thinking through all this, the simpler, the better in that kind of situation. Yeah. And in general, I'm a designer too.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah,
it's kind of always the way, especially in there, especially if someone's telling you, look, based on my experience, you're getting yourself into a bad scenario. You're setting yourself up.
Yeah, they told them.
Take the advice, simplify it, shed.
Yes.
That why try to even complicate it?
And these were guys that were like 6'2", all muscle, that was coming in.
And not afraid.
Not afraid. They were just like, hey, man, like, hey, little homie, just please. That's like the slang. They were like, hey, little homie, please. They was begging the guy. They was like, man, you about to go to L Dorm? That's where all the sharks at. He was like, listen, dude, please do not go back there with him. Even the one guy, I remember, like, when we were all walking in line, the one tall guy was like, he was like, man, I've been down I think he was already down for like 7 years. He was just changing to a different prison. So he was at intake going to another prison, but they just had him with us. And he was like, man, just give them to me. And you just come ask me for a cigarette when you need them.
So
they
ain't
gonna mess with me. He was like, no, man, nobody ain't. So I always learned that it's always somebody tougher than you.
Yeah, there's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, right. So once I got in and I saw how that altercation happened, I literally just kind of like, okay, well, it's kind of like a war zone, so I just need to do everything I need to do to just make it out of here.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Gosh, what a lesson. Were people held responsible for beating him? What happens to the people who...
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know. I didn't even ask all of that. I don't even know how they went. I don't know if anybody got prosecuted. I don't have no clue. I just know the one guy. Only how I know is because the one guy that I was cool with when we was there, maybe for like 2 weeks, he happened to come to the prison I was at after I got shipped off, maybe like 7-8 months. He went to a different prison. I went to Lake City. I guess he did something to come to Lake City. And yeah, he did something to come to Lake City. And when he came, I asked him about that situation. I was like, hey, man, did you ever see the little guy? He was like, man, he got beat so bad. He went to outside medical. And I was like, what you mean? He was like, yeah, then he died. I was like, whoa. First thing I said, man, I was over a cigarette. I was like, that was small. A cigarette, man. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I was like, whoa.
Well, I mean, people like you were talking about Pablo Escobar and things like that. You know, you look at someone wrong in that realm and you're toast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just 100%. The reality of it.
Yes.
So, again, better to just not be around that.
Yes, 100%. So certain events, you know, I've seen people get stabbed up for, stepping on a shoe.
Wow.
I've seen some crazy stuff. So it's like, once I saw all of that, I thank be to God, none of that happened to me.
Yeah.
I thank God every day, none of that happened to me. So it's like, I'm just so grateful to be free, knowing that nobody never stabbed me, nobody never hurt me, nobody never touched me. I didn't have to go through none of that crazy stuff. So
you really I would imagine you look at freedom at a much more deep perspective.
Yeah, 100%.
Freedom means a lot more when you lose your freedom.
Yeah. So like, that's what I was trying to tell you. When I came home and I was working at just a regular job, like catching the city bus, like hopping the Ubers before Ubers, like asking people to take me somewhere before Uber was a thing. Uber wasn't even cool. When I'd be like, hey man, you come give me a ride somewhere or jump on the city bus or get me a 30-day bus pass. Like I was happy with those things.
Sure.
Some people would be like, man, you ain't working hard enough. Man, what you mean you happy with a 30-day PSTA bus pass? I'm like, man, I'm happy. Like I'm free, right?
Yeah, number one.
Yes, I'm free.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, my buddy, no joke, man, he really had to like recondition my mind of how I was thinking. Because I'm glad he did show me more when it came to business, when it came to life, when it came to personal development, growth, whatever it was. He showed me all of that. However, I was just so grateful to have my freedom.
Yeah.
That a regular job, a city bus, a cab here and there, I was grateful for that. Like, I thought I was rich.
Yeah.
Like, if you get what I'm saying, like, no, for real, right?
Yeah.
Until, reality set in and opportunities started coming, right? But even if I didn't have those opportunities, I was just still so happy because I was like, man, I'm free.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's, as far as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I mean, food, water,
Yeah.
and freedom
Yeah.
are right there at the base, you know?
100%.
Otherwise, nothing else matters,
Yeah.
you know? It's just... And that gratefulness, your being grateful and your recognition of how important that is, I think was a big driver in your success, because people who are grateful and do good and put out that good energy, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
It's coming back to you in this moment through NPI, all these new connections you're making, down to this conversation. You know, it's so special. I wanted to see, okay, that was a pretty intense story. What's a story that sticks out where you go, that was so cool, that was so positive when you were in there? You know, did you see something that happened that uplifted you and maybe the community in there? Anything stick out, or was it okay?
Nah.
So more of your sessions, like reading the Bible.
Yeah. So what was cool was that I think it was cool when I got out, and then we all looked back. So my buddy David, that was like the leader of a particular group, when he was in there, he was just like, man, I just always made sure you was safe, bro. I was like, wow. He was like, yeah, I always made sure you was good. I was like, whoa.
That's special.
Yeah, right. He was just like, man, I don't know, man. He was just like, I just didn't want nothing to happen to you, so I would just always made sure you was good. So like me and him would just always read the Bible. But just to know that's why I take God serious, because like to be in a jungle, right, and you're no sign of a threat, and know like people literally sending like kites, as in like notes around saying, hey man, don't harm him, he good people.
Jeez.
From multiple individuals, right? Not just, my buddy David, but just knowing that when David, just think about like if David would have harmed me, right? Or if he would have if I would have got hurt, whatever it was, right? And he would have came to, let's say, Oyster Bar, right? And worked at Oyster Bar. I probably could have retaliated and, probably hurt him. However, it didn't work that way. It was like the total opposite, to where he made sure I was good. So when he came here, I made sure he was okay in the city. Even though he didn't need my help, but even if it was just somebody to talk to, like, man, I did 7 years, man, and this is tough right now, man. Like how, like, man, is there any resources over here? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Even though he didn't need my help, but I just still helped him, even if we just like worked out together.
Sure.
Like, hey buddy, come downtown. Let's work out real fast. I'll literally go down to North Shore and we'll work out. So it's like, I just thank God that he put certain people in position to where like I was good.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. It's huge. So glad that you came out the other end.
Yeah.
And there's so much. I want to respect time, because we could sit here for 5 hours.
No, I got you.
We have a part of our every episode where I ask guests very similar questions to kind of see the commonalities between all these different people on all walks of life. Commonalities and the differences is just a fun part. It's called rapid fire.
Okay. Got you. Let's go.
All right. So you can obviously, it doesn't have to be like one word.
Yeah, I got you.
If you want to expand, it's cool, but do your best.
Okay.
You got this. So, number 1, what is your biggest source of inspiration?
God.
One word. You did it.
Yeah, God.
All right. Cool. You're doing great. I mean, it sounds like that's clearly a thread that got you through particular times. And
100%.
That's not an uncommon thing.
No, it's not. So it's like, if you follow like how good of a person Jesus was, right? That would want to, I would think he should be anybody, like leader,
Yeah.
From a motivational standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, from all walks of life, like I don't think there's nothing you can't read the Bible that it can't help you in life. Everything that you read in the Bible, I truly believe it can help you in life.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of good in there.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because there's a lot of people who follow it, but then they act in ways where it does not align.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the what would Jesus do thing does not apply to what you're doing. Because what would he do? He would not be doing this.
Got you.
It's just it's an interesting thing. But I'm glad that, to see that it's been such a positive influence. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, you ain't have no choice.
Well, maybe there's already an answer for this next one, but do you have a favorite book?
Outside of the Bible,
Right.
I love reading the Bible, but if you want to say the Bible is a specific book, I love reading the book of Job.
Okay.
I like reading the book of Ecclesiastics.
Okay.
Yeah, but the best, like, outside of the Bible, it's a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wattles. The lady who wrote The Secret, Wanda Burns.
Yeah.
I think her name Wanda Burns, yeah. So her daughter gave her that book right before she was about to blow her brains out.
Oh, God.
So before she was going to blow her brains out, her daughter gave her the book and was like, here, read this manuscript, and I know it worked if I see you tomorrow.
Whoa.
Yeah. So people always go to The Secret to read The Secret because they felt The Secret helped her. I read between the lines. When she said she read the book, Wallace, The Science of Getting Rich, and it's not physically rich. It's like rich in spirit, rich in person, rich in being nice, rich in love. When I read that book, it totally changed my life. Like, I'm talking like, whoa, I started seeing everything, like everything slowed down. So when Wanda Burns said she read that book, I didn't want to read The Secret. I wanted to read the book she read.
You're going to the source.
Yeah. So when I read that book,
understandable.
And Wattles, it was so great that Wanda Burns probably won't tell you, but when you read the Wattles book, he literally take everything from the Bible. So that's why I don't read the self-help books no more, like the Tony Robbins or this person or that person, because it all comes from the Bible, believe it or not. Yeah. So Wanda Burns don't ever mention, God or Jesus Christ in it, but all that stuff from The Secret comes from the Bible because she read The Science of Getting Rich. So The Science of Getting Rich literally inputs everything when it comes from the Bible.
Sure.
But it's a beautiful book. I tell anybody, man, to get it if you really want to change your whole mindset. Yeah.
Jordan's recording us here, and he's a musician. Me too. Like, when you're thinking about inspiration, same with art, you think about an artist or a musician. What I like to do is, what are the artists that, if you like an artist and you want to learn about that, what are they influenced by? Because that's where you get the meat. Just like, no, I don't maybe want to go to the author's book. Yeah. I want to go what they're inspired by. Yeah. Then you really are diving in.
Yeah.
And there's a lot there.
I never read The Secret. I saw the documentary, but I never read the book after I saw her, I think on Oprah.
Oh, okay.
When she said, my daughter gave me this book, and it was The Science of Getting Rich by Wattles.
Cool.
Once I got that book, it was like, phew.
I'll add that to my list.
Oh, man, it's amazing.
Okay, deal. Do you have a favorite musical artist or a favorite album?
Man.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, it is. So, Young Jeezy. Yeah, I don't know if you ever heard of Young Jeezy.
It's ringing a bell.
Yeah,
I can't pinpoint.
Yeah.
I'll throw it on.
Yeah, Young
on my
Jeezy.
way home. All right.
That's like my favorite artist, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I listen to everything, so I look forward to that. Any particular album?
Trap or Die.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that always helps me. I'm an album person.
Yeah, it's called Trap or Die.
Trap or Die.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's in alignment with, I think, what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. You can spend a day with anyone, dead or alive. Who is it?
Jesus.
All right.
Yeah, Jesus.
Cool. I should have seen that one coming. All right. Last one. This has been great. And then we'll wrap up. How do you define success?
Man, so I'm going to be honest with you. That's one that's kind of like still growing on me. Because, everybody have different meanings for it. Some say, house, money, status. That's just one I haven't kind of like wrapped around it. But if I'm talking about my personal situation, I'm just going to say it's more so I just take it one day at a time. Because it's just something I feel like you can't really get your hands on, because it's just, you look on social media, or you'll see this or see that, or this person feel like you need to be here. You feel like you need to be there, but it's all on God's timing. So it's like, whatever God got for you, not a devil in hell could take it away from you. So it's like, I really can't call it, because my success may not be what God wants for me, or whatever God's success may be, I may want something different. So it's like, maybe a $40 million house maybe that'll make me crash out and make me feel like I'm bigger than God. So maybe God won't release that blessing or success or, whatever somebody want to call it. So honestly, I just take it one day at a time, man. I just be thankful that I wake up. So if you say what's your success is, man, just waking up every morning.
Free.
Yeah, just waking up. Yeah,
with your family.
Yeah, for real. Just literally waking up every morning free.
I love
happy,
that.
And, just staying focused.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, also, there's, so you'd be interested in all the different definitions of success that my guests have said. Almost nobody has said, the big house or money.
Yeah.
That's not the answer.
No, it's not.
And I liked how you're talking about richness, that book speaks to me.
Yeah.
Your description of it, because when I think of rich, I am not a wealthy person, but I am rich because I have great friends, people who I'm surrounded by, my daughter, my wife, my family, my dog. I've got what I need. I obviously want to grow and do big things, but I am rich as far as my life is rich.
100%.
And I'm free. And I'm very grateful for that.
Very.
You and I are on the same page there.
Yeah.
Man, this has been awesome. I want to ask a couple things.
Yeah.
And then we're done. What does the Service Pros, what does Lamar Werts look like in 5-10 years? What are your future goals?
Man,
what's
so
ahead?
I'm going to say Service Pros in the next 5 to 10 years, I would say we would be a full stack. And when I mean full stack, I mean we're going to offer roofing, plumbing, and electrical, full-fledged, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
I can offer those services right now, but right now my only focus is HVAC.
Got it.
Because I want to build that stack first.
Sure.
And I feel like once I build that, I feel like I would just pretty much follow that same service and same guidelines, and I would build that service off each one. So pretty much how I do everything, I would do roofing like that, I would do plumbing like that, and I would do electrical like that. So right now I'm only solely focused on HVAC.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just building.
Yeah, that's it. Just building
new verticals.
That's it.
It's also, a lot of people want to do it all at once, but then you're watering your services down. You're watering your energy and your focus. So that's great to hear.
Matter of fact, I'm a shout out to Dan for that, Dan Westfall, right? Because when he came to me, he was like, man, even though nobody in the group have the plumbing seat or the roof seat, he was like, somebody still may come and want to take that seat. So he was like, can you tone it down to just HVAC? I was like, yeah, I could only do air conditioning. So when I went home, I actually told my business partner, and I was like, hey, Mark, let's just only focus on air conditioning, heating, and that's it. We're not going to do no plumbing, no roofing, no electrical, no nothing. Even though we hold all the licenses and we're licensed and insured for each one of those. However, if I go to your house and you want a roof replaced or a water heater, yeah, I'll do it because I'm in your house.
Sure.
That's not nothing I'm marketing, right? Right now, it's only HVAC, air conditioning, heating, and that's it.
It's also, when you're niche and specific, they think of Lamar, they think of AC, and it's very specific.
That's it.
You can grow from there.
Yep.
But if you're trying to say, I do all of this,
man.
then you're kind of, what's sticking with
like
me? You do this and this? Yeah. So it's, that's very strategic. And Dan Westfall is great. Shout out to Dan. He manages my little amount of investments. He's been a guest on this show. He's a great dude. He's actually the reason why I'm an MPI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you didn't know that. Yeah.
Oh, Dan was there before you?
Dan Westfall. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you was there before Dan.
No, but I'm glad that's the perspective you get.
Nice.
Yeah, we worked at the same co-working space. Our offices were in the same space and got to know each other and became friends.
It's funny. I went there, Rising Tide, right?
Yeah.
So my buddy owned that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Who's your buddy?
My Hess Mystery. He owned that before the new owner. He sold it to the new owners.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when I went, because I had to go there and do La Dipa, which is Felipe, his ice cream shop.
Oh, La Diperie.
Yeah, La Diperie.
Yeah. Filippo.
Yeah, Filippo. So he wanted me to go do his ACs. So I went over there and did all the ACs, serviced them up. I think that was just 3 days ago. And I went over there and I was like, oh, this my buddy. This my buddy old building.
Right upstairs.
Yeah, he owned the whole
he
owned the whole script. Yeah, he owned the whole script. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just sold it like 3 years ago.
That guy's not kidding around.
He sold it like 3 years ago. Yeah.
I'd say that you're at the top of your game when an ice cream store that is air conditioning and cooling is so vital to their business that you're the one who they call.
And it was amazing because literally I went in like at 5 o'clock. I went back at 5 o'clock because they wasn't open. Because I'm like, man, this ice cream looks so delicious. Like you could dip it. So I was like, man,
it's dangerous.
I want to check it out.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, I was like, man, we got to go back to the spot. I walk in and the owner come around, Felipe's partner, Andy. He's like, oh, hey, this the guy that did ice cream. The other guy was like, oh, it feels so great in here right now. I was like, oh, yeah, that feels good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that feels good.
Oh, cool. All right. Last thing. Anyone listening out there, regardless of how old they are, what they're doing in life, what's the biggest piece of advice you could leave anybody out there?
Man, just be big on delayed gratification. When I was a kid, I felt like it was just everything was rush. So my psychology was so backed up. Like if I couldn't have the money now, I wouldn't want to do it. Like everything was so fast, microwave. Mm-hmm. And when I got around my buddy, I saw a difference in the delayed gratification that when they start something. So I saw pretty much like his businesses and what he would sell. So I would see him literally start something from scratch, zero. And then he would sell it for millions later, like a year, 2-3 years down the road. Like he done did that a handful of times just with me being by his side for like the last 10 years. And he's big on delayed gratification. And I saw that, right? So when you're in the business world, that's just with anything in life.
100%.
Anything in life. If you can literally put delayed gratification in your mind and you could put it in your heart, you can literally live day to day and wake up early in the morning, even when days get so rough, like when you want to give up, when you feel like, man, this is all is lost. I don't want to do this no more. If you can just keep a little bit of that, I'm talking like a mustard seed of that, you'll be all right because you know a day going to come where it's all going to work out, right? So whether it's business, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a business partner, whatever it's an acquisition that's going to come, if you just stay focused and literally just have I'm talking like a mustard seed of delayed gratification, that customer is going to come, that business partner is going to come, the right opportunity is going to come, that funding is going to come. It's just all going to work out.
Yeah.
So I just always have that in mind to where, like, for example, like I'm not even supposed to be here right now. I'm supposed to be at the county jail. So every other Friday we speak to the youth, me and a lawyer friend of mine.
Oh, right.
Yeah, me and a lawyer friend of mine, we go speak literally right across the street.
Well, hopefully you're speaking to many more youths in a way through here. So you're still doing
it is, right? So I
work.
always tell them when I go in there, like, hey, man, it's delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So, like,
that's
a lot of them
advice.
over there is like stealing cars or taking like a little cell phone or something like that. It's just always something small. I'm like, no. Just put delayed gratification in your mind that whether it's going to be a happy house, whether it's a happy house with you and your mom, whether it's a new job you're going to get, just always have delayed gratification that right now, if things not working out, just know it's going to work out one day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no matter what it is.
Gosh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Especially, we're two business owners talking to each other, every week something hits.
Yeah.
And I go, that's because I set this up over 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the work that I was doing or the connection I made or, just sticking with it. Now it's paying off. Or, for instance, I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
All that practice. And then I'm playing at the Hard Rock or with Jordan on stage, Floridian Social or the Ruth Eckerd. I go, all that hard work is paying off in this moment.
Yep.
But it does not, good things do not happen like overnight.
No.
Nothing big and important happens immediately.
No, it don't.
And the good stuff and the important stuff.
Yes.
So I love that, man. I think that's a fantastic way to tie a bow on this.
Yeah.
I want to thank you again for your time, for talking about your story. I truly hope and believe that you've already helped so many people. To clear what you're doing is just like continually putting out good in the world. And I respect you gratefully for that. I'm really grateful that we're connected, that I can call you a friend.
Yeah, thanks, man.
It means a lot, and I look forward to what's ahead.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you so much, man. I'm thankful and grateful for being on the podcast. And it's funny because I don't even like talking about this. I don't, man, but
I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the Naming Creative podcast, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you need me again, just give me a shout.
Part 2.
Yep,
for sure. Oh yeah. Thanks, Lamar.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Thank you.